I was born and reared in New Orleans, Louisiana. And I went to public schools and elementary schools, then I went to an all-boys Catholic high school, and then I went to Xavier University, all segregated. All of my education was segregated education. I don't think I was disadvantaged because of that. I knew we were disadvantaged because we couldn't access public facilities. But my education was not second class. Some of the greatest minds in the community were school teachers. Some of the most dedicated people were school teachers. My mother was a school teacher, and my family was full of school teachers, so I've always respected school teachers. When I left Xavier University as a mathematics major, I went to Loyola University in Chicago to get a master's degree in mathematics, and I thought I wanted to be an engineer. And I gravitated towards California and became an engineer only for a short period of time on the Apollo Moonshot project. But I was also teaching to make sure that I had a full-time job, because engineering was sometimes questionable as to how long you could stay with that. And I made the right choice. I taught at many schools in Los Angeles, and all of my experiences were in the South Central area, pretty much. And I enjoyed it. It was something that really inspired me to realize I was making a difference. Because when I was at Loyola University in Chicago, it was the first time I'd been around white students, not only working on my graduate degree, but I was teaching as a part of I had a fellowship to pay my tuition. So I was teaching white students, and I had very few black students. And I saw the absence of pipeline from high schools into a university. So I taught at Jordan High School when I came to Los Angeles, and I taught at many other schools, and eventually became a principal of Washington High School. And none of that was a master plan for me. I never wanted to be an administrator, never thought I wanted to be an administrator. It just kind of came to me. Whatever came to me, I did the job. And I really enjoyed changing the vision of young people, especially African Americans. At that time, Jordan was predominantly African American. I taught at Dorsey. Dorsey was predominantly African American, and so was Fauché, and so was Horace Mann, and so was Mount Vernon, which is now Cochran Middle School, and so was Bret Hart. I taught at many schools, either as a classroom teacher or as an administrator, vice principal, stuff like that. And I figured, why would I be looking for something else to do? I love teaching, and I love working around young people, because they keep you young. I can still ride the roller coaster, because I would take them to Magic Mountain. So some of them are afraid I was riding when it was built, so I'm an old hand at that. But I became a superintendent in Inglewood, a deputy superintendent in Compton, and a deputy superintendent in Pasadena. So I've been a superintendent for multiple years, and returned back to LA Unified as what was called a local district superintendent. The local districts, they broke the district up into local districts. We're still part of the district, but you had a jurisdiction. And just my local district, when I was here, twice I was here in LA, my local district was bigger than Inglewood, Compton, and Pasadena combined. That's how big LA is. Just one local district was bigger than all those three districts combined. And still is to this day. And my district had over 70,000 students in it. So the importance of education cannot be overstated. And the absence of quality education is an abomination. And my mission has always been to fix what I saw as a discrepancy between what other students got in their neighborhoods and their schools and what we got in the African American community, and let's say the community of disadvantage, economic disadvantage. It isn't so much about race nowadays. It's about class and culture. Race used to be the determinant. They just look at us and say, you don't belong here. But now if you had the money and the education, you're allowed to open certain doors. So if education can't get you into that doorway, either in public entity or private entity or private enterprise or technology and all of that, if you don't have the background, even filmmaking and all of that, it's your skill sets that give you a better opportunity. Now, don't get me wrong, there still is a curtain there, there still is a ceiling there that keeps us out. So we have to fight, but the fight is not as hard. The part that bothers me is that the value of our lives as a people is still not as high as it could be for other people. And even the value of our own lives, because what frustrates me is the violence that still perpetuates in our community. And I've been on the Southern Christian Leadership Conference over 25 years. I was on the board for many years, and the Brotherhood Crusade board, and we learned how to serve people. But the thing that really bothers me, and I have an answer, but we don't have the will or the resources to do it, is to eliminate the concept of violence in our communities. The notion of gangs. We're recently seeing, they were talking about these people were radicalized to become killers within an Islamic subset. Not that Islam is bad, but they're radicalized, so they're killers. Suicidal and homicidal. They're the most dangerous people on earth. They don't mind dying, certainly don't mind killing. Same thing is true for young people in gangs. Don't mind dying, don't mind killing. So they've been radicalized. They're not even radicalized by a, let's say, a powerful group, a political group. They're radicalized because of their neighborhood and their experiences and their family tree, where the daddy, the men in particular, have been in it, can't get out of it, want to stay in it, proud that their sons and even their daughters get caught up in it. And they reproduce within this culture. That is a stain on us. How do we get out of that? That's a tough one, because you almost have to do what drastic people would not let you do. Break up the community, take people out of the community, try to relocate them. But the sad part is when people who are in those desperate circumstances find themselves in that, they feel a kinship by other people in similar circumstances. So if you put them somewhere else, they'd be a fish out of water, especially if they don't have the skill sets to support themselves. And so a lot of that becomes, you know, underground revenue and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that all poor people engage in underground economics, but you get desperate enough, you might do anything. And then you get so desperate that you become homeless. You become unable to support yourself, you see.